Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bookworthy. I believe we're up to episode 7. Very awesome. I'm glad you're here visiting with me. My name is Chris Rini, and each year I create a book chronicling the year in mixed martial arts through art and essays. Welcome. It was an absolutely fantastic night of fights at UFC 281. I'm going to run through the card with you, letting you know how I plan on, what's the word? How I plan on in creating iconography about this sport that we love. I'm speaking a little quietly. It's kind of late in the evening. It's a little after 10 o'clock at night. We just had my daughter's 8th birthday. That was really cool. I got to get up. I gotta get up early. I get up like 5:45 in the morning, maybe 6, so I can leave the house at 6:15 and ride a bike to a lake and go swimming in a cold ass lake here in Denmark. But that's all right. That's how we're gonna get through the winter. As you can see, I got my glasses on. That's how you know I'm done. I got a haircut today. It was really cool. As you can see, I don't know what I'm going to do at the top. You just got to survive. But I took off most of my beard. That's kind of I haven't seen my chin in a long time. But the real reason is that my skin was getting crazy dry. It was really making me uncomfortable. It's not fun when you're like, oh yeah, you scratch an itch and you see the little flakes fall. So I had been using oil, trying to oil the beard and comb it out every day. But honestly, I think I just drink too much coffee and not enough water. you know, I, we all got our flaws, right? And so I decided to just trim it down. And actually, my wife was really happy. She thought it looked really good. So, shit, I'm down with that. Let's see. I gotta get the sponsorships out of the way. You could go to chrisrini.com. Pick up a copy of The Fine Art of Violence there. I also make cartoons twice a week for bloodyelbow.com. Silly little editorial cartoons about, UFC usually in there. Marketing, promoting, and fighter pay stuff. Trying to find a funny way to talk about the comings and goings of the day. And if you feel like supporting my art studio, I have some really cool news. I have a Patreon page, patreon.com/Chris Rini. All these links down below in the description. You can sponsor my book, and you will get a copy of the book. It's amazing. For only $1 a month, you will get a digital copy of the book and all the making of videos and stuff that doesn't even make it into the book, the behind the scenes type stuff, the in progress things, which I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I think it's cool. And I share a little bit of my thoughts about why I chose a certain pose or why something is relevant or important. I can't even remember now if it's $5 or $6 a month, you will get a copy of the book. And if you go as high as $10 a month, you will get a copy of the book, a digital copy of the book. Both, so you get a physical and a digital copy, and you will get a collectible piece of art. I am working with a laser engraver, and we're making a ton of progress. And I'm going to have something really cool to share with people. I'll do this laser engraving of one of my drawings, and it'll be just for patrons. So that's exciting. And if you just want to support the channel, you could also just go to Cotton Bureau and buy a shirt, a Combat Wombat shirt. Combat Wombat is my cartoon stand-in for superfans and MMA media alike. And things are good. My goodness, I'm a tired boy. So let's see. I had a great time drawing. What is it called? UFC 281. I woke up at like 4. I think the fight card started at 4 in the morning here. The main card started at 4 in the morning, and I couldn't quite bring myself to do that. I think I woke up at 4:30. I got up, put the coffee on, and it's dark. It is dark as hell here now. I'm living in Denmark, and once you get this far north latitude, it's pretty interesting. It is like pitch black by 5 o'clock in the evening, and it's only going to get worse. So, 4:30 in the morning, it's dark. I throw on the projector, watch the fights like, 8 feet wide. I really enjoy that. And it does feel it's a minor luxury. So I got up, turned it on just as Dan Hooker put down Claudio Puelles. And I will tell you right off the bat, I don't think that's going in the book. I love Dan Hooker. I really enjoy his fights. He's had some of the most intense wars I've ever seen. It kind of had me thinking. He put a real beating on Puelles' body, it seems. It made me think about Hooker getting absolutely destroyed versus Edson Barboza. I thought that was one of the hardest fights to watch I've seen in recent years. It was one of those where you could see he was too tough mentally. His body was giving out. Anyway, tell me what you think. Do you think Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles should be included? I'll tell you this. Dan Hooker getting worked by Arnold Allen will be included in the book. And does that matter? Does that change your perspective? I think the rise of Arnold Allen is the story I want to tell. So I started drawing with the next fight, Frankie Edgar. This year, I feel like there have been quite a number of notable people walking away from either MMA and combat sports or just maybe the UFC. I'm thinking about Donald Cerrone. I was like, did Misha Tate retire again? But Donald Cerrone, Frankie Edgar, had his lights turned out again. That was I guess the hardest part about Frankie Edgar's fight was that you kind of felt like you knew it was coming. You knew something bad was coming. It's become increasingly uncomfortable. His recent run of stoppages have been, difficult to watch. Another case of the body can no longer take what it once did. Guys like Brian Ortega and Chan Sung Jung, putting him down, putting him out. Those were really, really tough fights. And then I really feel like things have only gotten more challenging. Rather, like going down to 135 and just facing, Corey Sandhagen and Chito Vera. It's what really sucks is that I don't think shutting off Frankie Edgar's lights does anything for Chris Gutierrez the same way it might have the same way it did for Corey Sandhagen, or especially Brian Ortega. I think the Brian Ortega knockout was the one where that put Ortega in title on the title path, into he booked him his title fight. Anyway, it's really combat sports. It's a truism. It's like this is just the way it is. It's uncomfortable to watch. People not want to give up the ghost, right? It's hard. I know that it's often a big part of people's identity, being a fighter, and I understand that you're not just giving up your way of your living, but you are giving up your way of life. This is a hard thing to do, but it's also, from a consumer standpoint. Here's a funny thing. If we as fans are able to watch a fight and feel like we can opine on people's fighting style or people's choices, No one says boo to fans about saying so and so is boring, therefore I don't want to watch him. Or inversely, you could say, so and so is exciting, therefore I will watch them. You know, if we are free as fans to comment on that, then we are equally as free to say, this person's getting older and they're taking a lot of damage, and I do not enjoy watching them get hurt. I think there's a lot of nuance to what we as fans and media members can say. There's this like kind of blanket thing that, you can't tell someone when to retire. Well, you can say that this is a sports entertainment product, and this product is not entertaining because the damage that you're watching a 40-year-old man take is makes you question your own morality. All right. Speaking of people who are entertaining to watch, absorb damage and dish it out, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, amazing fight. I watched the fight live, and I did a very silly drawing that was still nevertheless very fun to do, and I thought it captured the moment of Poirier against the fence, and just like a series of like Looney Tunes-esque bombs, the big spherical ones with the little cap and the fuse, kind of like the Batman gif. Just being hurled at him, half a dozen of them from Chandler. I thought that captured the spirit of the fight. I gotta admit, I was curious what Michael Chandler's UFC run was going to be like, and it has really lived up to his pitch, Poirier, I know he's kind of like a man without a goal. He knows who he is, he knows where he is, he knows where he stands, and it's like a man of high respect, but of not a lot of directional aspirations. It's hard to, you don't see him at the end of a fight, demanding a title shot, calling out the champ by name. He made an allusion to the champ, Islam Makhachev, and his, commentary on Poirier's jiu-jitsu. But nevertheless, he's a man who, and I mean Poirier, is a man who can see the end coming, and he might go out gracefully. He seems like somebody who has a certain level of self-awareness. I kind of wish for the best for him. If you've never seen the documentary Fightville, it's a fortunate look into a very young Dustin Poirier's life, and it's the kind of thing that make you emotionally invested in a fighter in a way that maybe like a promo package will not. So I recommend that if you've never seen it. Fightville, it's a good documentary. I'd say it's probably my second favorite MMA film after The Smashing Machine, which is the best MMA movie ever. Let's see. Zhang Weili, Carla Esparza. What are you going to say? Everything people said came true. Carla, she hung tough. Weili, she had strength. She had like strength beyond strength. Like she was a Pantera song come to life and put her away. I cranked out a nice little drawing of that one. I was pretty happy. I liked the grappling positions they ended up in on the way to the finishing sequence. And that might actually turn into a large-scale painting for this show I've got coming up. I made a joke on MMA Squared about the merry-go-round of passing the title from Rose to Zhang to Carla, and then maybe we'll get a little bit of Amanda Lemos in there, which sounds a little ridiculous, but shit, man, that might happen. See who's ready to defend and who's ready to go for the fight for the title if the UFC really does go to China and do an event there. That's my feeling. My feeling is that whoever's ready to fight in China, because I know Zhang Weili said that she wants to defend the title in China. If that comes to pass, whoever's ready is going to get the call, whether it be it Rose, Amanda Lemos, or shit, man, maybe Jessica Andrade get a second turn at it, right? Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira. I'm gonna, you know, that was a heartbreaker, man. It was a heartbreaker to watch. I feel for the guy. Um, it was hard to watch him take those punches, but nevertheless, it also was thrilling. It was thrilling. I didn't leave that fight feeling down. I felt like almost baffled. It was reminiscent of the Leon Edwards head kick knockout of Kamaru Usman. But even that fight, even that was like there was a finality to the Leon Edwards win. That kind of that had me like throwing my arms up in the air, like just blown away by the. There's something about the certainty of that finish, and this one, Adesanya had his leg hurt and he was stumbling around, and I saw in some interviews he was saying that it was because of the nerve damage to his leg. It wasn't because the punches were hurting him. Always, I say this to myself and I'll say it to you, like going back and watching a fight in slow motion, watching a finishing sequence in slow motion, that ain't it. The ref is not watching the fight in slow motion. The ref is not watching the fight again. They are only able to see it once in real time during the heat of battle. That's it. I always feel like that when people, kind of assess fights afterwards, count the number of punches. It's like, dude, nobody scoring a fight has a punch counter. It's kind of a weird quirk in our sport. And I'll be frank, I don't want to see a rematch. I feel like rematches really, really have a way of dragging down the momentum of a division for the most part. Even Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo, like as much as those fights individually have been amazing, like, come on. Let fucking Pantoja get in there. If you want to see like something special, like watch Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. Watch what he did against Davison Figueiredo in 2019. Like, that was a great fight. There's no reason not to run that one. Anyway. So, yeah, Pantoja, he, worked Eric Perez this year. Had a great fight against Brandon Royval in, I think, 2020. I don't know. I feel for the guy. There's no reason not to run him, not to let him have a shot at the title, especially since he had a great one against Figueiredo. I'm gonna poke back on the what is it called? The preliminary card of the other fight two fights. I think I'm gonna include Renato Moicano versus Brad Riddell. There's a narrative that comes up in my books a lot about the churn of really competitive divisions. And it's come up a couple times in lightweight that there are just these vicious fights that guys got to go through. Pardon me. These vicious fights that happen just below in that 15 to 7 kind of range. Yeah, that's those are tough fights, man. Those are great fighters who, the kind of people who can on any given day could give a champ a run for their money. Maybe not Makhachev, but the average champ a run for their money. I saw that Brad Riddell said he's going to step away from fighting for a bit, and I'm happy for him. I wish everyone that level of perspective and self-awareness. Ryan Spann versus Dominic Reyes. I think I'm going to include it partially just because visually I think there's a very interesting image. Just the way Reyes fell. I just thought it was beautiful. You know, there was a kind of ballet-like movement with the way he went down. I feel for the guy. I feel like he's taken so much damage and he doesn't take it well. He's got like that coulda, woulda, shoulda narrative like hanging over him now. Like, oof. I don't know how you turn your career around at this point. Anyway, poor guy. I feel for him, Ryan Spann, I hate to say it, but I don't see him like competing with the elites of the division. But then again, the division is so damn thin. He just put out Ion Cutelaba and now Dominic Reyes. Man, you might see him. You might see him fight Glover Teixeira. You might see him fight Jan Blachowicz. Who else is there? Light heavyweight is thin. And finally, the last thing I'll say is I was thrilled to see Erin Blanchfield go out there and really put together a signature win against Molly McCann. I follow a bunch of podcasters and writers and in the media, and I gotta say, I think Luke Thomas is really good at picking prospects who have a fundamental foundation that points toward future success. Occasionally he's going to pick somebody like the Korean Superboy, but he picked this guy, De Ridder, over at One, who's a light heavyweight. I got my eye on him, and he was talking about Manon Fiorot in like January of 2021. So I've had my eye on her since then, and she has looked totally up to the test, even though that last fight against Chukagian was pretty lame. But he sang the praises of Branchfield, and I kept my eye on her, and then I watched her beat Miranda Maverick, who's another fighter who I believe is, right on the edge of top 5 material for her division. And anyway, if you haven't watched Erin Blanchfield versus Molly McCann, that was a special fight. I'm definitely going to turn that into a painting. There is a lot of drama in it. I just can't wait to do it. So, listen, if you got time, come say hi over at Patreon. I like hearing from people there. For $1 a month, you can support my art studio and get a copy of the book. And, man, that ain't nothing. I ain't going to do that old price of a cup of coffee, whatever, because, I don't know, maybe you don't drink coffee. Take care of yourself, and I will be back on Thursday.